Hi guys, welcome to this speed build video. In The Sims 4, my name is Irene and today I am building a turtle island. This is a massive turtle coming up out of the water, and on his back, on his shield, will be a tropical island with a lot of coral colors everywhere, palm trees, plants, and on that island will be a ship. This turtle came up out of the water and scooped the ship up, and in that ship your sim can live. There will actually be a very big house inside that ship. I made the interior in the ship for a magical sim, a spellcaster sim, but I used that new Paranormal pack a lot as well. I really learned to appreciate it during this build, and I think this house would be amazing for a mermaid to live in as well. I spent a lot of time on this build. I really took my time with it. During my last video I made the Norse mythical city of Asgard. During that video I told you guys that I don't want to use my strict schedule anymore. I just want to build a lot, I want to spend a lot of time on it, I want to work hard on it, but I want to release my builds when I'm really happy with them and when they're finished. And that means that sometimes you have to wait a little bit longer for a build. So I really took my time to perfect this one, especially on the interior as well. Normally, when I had that schedule, when I was finished with the entire exterior, where I really spent a lot of time on, and I was onto the interior, sometimes I slacked that off a little bit, I rushed it a little bit because I wanted to reach the deadline, reach my schedule, but this time I really took my time with it, and yeah, I'm very proud of it, so I'm very excited to share this one with you guys. So let's just jump right in. Yes, a massive turtle. As you can see, I already started on the shape of the turtle and it's not okay at all right now. I think it looks now at the moment as this turtle just smashed onto the ground from a height. Yes, I think the entire proportions, they're just way off at the moment, but of course this was my starting point and I always love to do that, make a rough shape of what I want to create and then just fine-tune it here and there. For example, I made these big flippers at the front of the turtle. Yes, I had to Google it, how the legs of a turtle or the limbs of a turtle are called, but they're called flippers and I think that's amazing. But the flippers at the front, I already made them, and I made them at the back as well. But I made them at the back not in an angle, so you could see them above water. Later on I will lower them down, I will put them in an angle. You cannot really see them anymore because they're underwater. But I think the entire look of the turtle was way better when I did that. Same for the angle of the shield. I'm going to change that angle up a little bit. I will flip it a little bit so it looks more like it's coming out of water. Same for the head. I will turn that around a little bit as well. But of course you can see that all later on. This basic shape of the turtle, I made it of the turtle statue for the head. There's a turtle statue that one came with the island living pack. And yeah, basically you can use that statue just as your entire turtle when you want to recreate something like this and just build an island on that shield. But I wanted to do something different. I wanted to make it a little bit more difficult for myself, but I think the end result is a little bit better as well. I already started on the ship. I will get to that in a couple of seconds. But yeah, I wanted to make it look more like a turtle. The turtle statue is quite small, and when you size it up a lot, it just doesn't look good anymore in the game, I think. So I only used the head of the statue. Well, I used the entire statue, but I lowered it down in the ground so you can only see the head. And then I used grottos from the Snowy Escape pack for the shields. For the flippers of the turtle, I used statues from Island Living as well. Normally they're supposed to be a tail of a whale, and I flipped them around too. They look very chunky at the moment, but later on after I'm finished with the ship, I will add a lot of coral everywhere. I will make this into a coral turtle, and I will cover up all that chunkiness of the flippers everywhere. I placed a lot of fountains and steam crates everywhere around this build because I wanted to make it look like this turtle was coming out of the water, and I thought I could realize that effect with using a lot of fountains and a lot of steam everywhere all around the turtle. Right now you can still see the steam crates and all these items on the ground of the pool because yes, I use the pool for the water. But later on I will cover that up with a very big stone slab, and it's very thin, so you cannot see them anymore. But yeah, that was very important for this build, and I really think it gave the entire turtle or the entire build way more dynamic effect. So I didn't count them all, but I used hundreds and hundreds of fountains and steam crates. Yeah, well, the ship where we're on to right now. Maybe you saw my ship build, ghost ship, the Flying Dutchman, I think 2 months ago or something. In that video or during that build, I really took my time figuring out how to create a ship in the game. And I decided to not invent the wheel again for this build. So I used the same methods that I used there while I was doing that particular ship. Because I know that that method works and I just love building ships in the game. I think it is so much fun to do. Of course, this ship is totally different than that ghost ship. This time around I went more for just a traditional ship. It's not really a pirate ship as well, more a trade ship. Yeah, I don't know. I just went with a traditional ship in my mind. It's way more brown than the previous one. The previous one was a ghost ship, so very creepy with a lot of gargoyles and scary statues, you know, the ones that came with the vampires back. This one is way more normal, but still very, very detailed. I love doing that with my builds, and especially when I have the time to do it. I made the basic shape of the ship, or the bottom of the ship. I made that with ships or boats. They came with just with debug items. I think it's just a base game item. And I sized it up a lot. 2 of them, and I placed them next to each other. Then I had the base for the ship. Then I just filled it up with different rooms. The basic shape, yes, again, the basic words, the basic shape of the ship that I wanted to make. And then I just added a lot of pillars. But a lot of other accents everywhere, roofs everywhere, to create that shape of a ship. I used the platform tool a lot in this build as well. Yeah, a lot. I wanted to make that effect on the ship with these different heights everywhere, and the platform tool is just amazing for it. I said it before, but we only have the platform tool for a couple of months now, and I can't imagine building without it anymore. But oh yes, I totally forgot it. I want to talk about that in the beginning of the video, but I totally just forgot it. But here we go. Yeah, this video or this build is inspired by so many different things. I still remember when I was very young, very young, I used to watch a kids show, television show in the Netherlands, where I'm from. And maybe where you are from the Netherlands, you will recognize it, but I watched Alfred Jodokus Kwak. Amazing kids show, cartoon about a very cool duck, and he traveled everywhere and he experienced so many different things, but it was very exciting as well, because there were so many big adventures, and some of them were very cool about history. Well, if you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. But in one of the episodes, he traveled to Aruba. And Aruba, in that show, was basically a very big turtle island. And I still remember when I saw that for the first time, and I was amazed. I love that idea. after that, a little bit after that, I read, or I think my dad read it to me. I'm not totally sure anymore, but I read The Never-Ending Story for the first time. One of my favorite books when I was a kid. I talked about that before. I really want to do a Never-Ending Story book build as well. I have a series going on my channel. In that series I make massive magical books, and out of these books are worlds, and I want to make a Never-Ending Story themed one as well. But in Never-Ending Story, in the very beginning of the book, Atreyu, in Dutch, he's called Atreyu. I'm not totally sure if that's the same thing in English. But Atreyu, it travels through a swamp, and in the swamp there is Morla, a very big turtle mountain as well. And there's so many examples of these mythical turtles with islands or mountains as shields. Just from the top of my mind, God of War. In the last God of War game, there was a very cool turtle as well, where the witch was living. And there's so many more examples of this. I love the idea. It really speaks to the imagination, and I just wanted to give it a try in the game as well. I googled, I searched on YouTube, I couldn't find any other videos in The Sims around this theme. So I thought it was an original idea, so I really wanted to give it a try. And turtles used to be my favorite animals when I was a kid. I don't know how or why, but when I was very, very small, I always wanted to have turtle stuffed animals. I don't even remember that anymore. And when we went to a zoo, I always only wanted to watch the turtles. I just love them. When I was a little bit older, I think around 10 years old, I started to collect turtles. Not real ones, obviously, but stuffed animals, statues, posters. It's so funny, but they used to be my favorite animal in the entire world. So I just had to build this one. I just had to. Well, while it was a little bit of story time, the ship, the entire process progressed a little bit. As you can see, the ship is taking his shape more and more and more and more and more. And I used a lot of more brown colors than in the previous ship that I did. I wanted to make it look a little bit more fitting for this build. I think a spooky ship would be very cool on it as well. But then I had to make this turtle not into a coral turtle, what I had in mind, but way more spooky or something. So I just went for this brown shape or brown color. I used a lot of roofs again. Yes, I love using roofs in my builds. I think you can really make shapes, different shapes that you otherwise really couldn't realize in the game. Same for the shape of the front of the ship right now. I used the roof there, and it looks a little bit strange at the moment because I kept the walls blank at this time. But later on, when I will give them a wooden color, different color, the look will totally change up. The roofs that I used on the sides of the ship to create that shape, I gave them this blackish color, but it can go as a little bit as very dark brown as well. And it's an amazing roof type to use for a ship build when you want to recreate something like this. They're actually wooden slates. I'm not totally sure how they're called in English, but this roof type, it came with the Snowy Escape pack. And I'm not totally sure if I used it in the previous ship build as well, but I think it's very fitting. I just placed the roof at the bottom over there to create that shape as well. And as you could see, I removed the walls underneath the roofs. I used doors for it. I placed them on that wall, and then with using the tool mod, I selected them all and I sized them down as far as I could. Maybe you saw it like 0.00001 size. And then they seem to disappear, of course, because they become very, very small. And in that way you can remove walls underneath roofs. But you really have to use the tool mod for it. The tool mod is amazing. It's the only mod that I use, but I love to use it. You can rotate items, you can lower items down or raise them up within the game. Just without that mod, there are limitations on that, raising up an item or lowering down an item. So yeah, it opens up a world of possibilities. So if you want to use this mod as well, just go to twistedmaxi.com. He has an amazing mod for your build and buy catalog as well. I use a lot of these debug items. You know, you have to double cheat to use these debug items, and there are so many debug items that are not ordered in any kind of fashion. And when you use the better build buy mods, they are ordered, so you can find the trees just amongst the trees in your build and buy menu. So that is amazing. And the best thing about that mod is when you don't have it, but you still want to download this build, you still want to pull it from the gallery and use it in your own game, you don't need that mod to use it or to place it in your own world. Talking about using this build in your own world, the previous builds I did, they all were functional on the interior, but you had to use a teleportation cheat to enter the build. Well, this time around I really made it functional. Yay! Another perk of not keeping myself onto that schedule. I really took my time with it and I had the time to make it functional. You can see it in a couple of minutes, but I will make a very small walkway at the back of this build with some stairs. So your sim can just walk over the water, over the shield, just to enter this ship. Because I really think this one would be so much fun to play around with. But of course, you can see that later on when we're into the interior, so I want to talk about it then. This ship, you have a pre-made ship in the game. So if you want to recreate something like this, and really if you want to, I don't mind. I think it's amazing when you want to recreate something that I made. But if you want to do that, you could use that pre-made ship, of course, as well. But it's way more difficult to make a big house inside that ship. I think you can only place one room or something in it. And in this ship, there's really a big kitchen, a big bathroom, a big bedroom, a big room for spells and a lot of other things going on. But you can use that pre-made ship. The pre-made one, I will only use the masts from them. But the pre-made one, it came with the Get Famous pack, and it's a movie prop and you have it in several different pieces, and of course you can combine all these pieces together to make it into a ship. But in my humble opinion, it looks like a movie prop. Yeah, it is a movie prop, but it looks like it as well, and I love making my builds very detailed, so that's why I didn't use that pre-made ship. But if you want to build something like this and maybe make it a little bit smaller, you can definitely use that movie prop ship as well. Talking about making it a little bit smaller, I'm building it on a 64 by 64 lots. I really needed the space because I wanted to make this into a massive build with this very big ship with a very big house in it. But that meant that I had to make it on the ground. And in a perfect world, of course, this lot would be surrounded with ocean. It is surrounded with ocean, but there's this ground between the water and the ocean as well. In a perfect world, this was just in the middle of an ocean. You know what I mean. We have a couple of these ocean lots in the Isolani, the world that came with the Island Living pack, and I think it's very cool to build something like this in that world as well. There's a 50 by 50 ocean lot in that world, and especially when you want to play around with this build as a mermaid, for example, I think it's very cool to recreate something like this on that ocean lot. And because it's smaller, you could potentially use that movie prop over there. But here, I really thought about it and I made a decision to go for perfection and go for what I had in mind. So I decided to make it on the ground and in my mind, in my imagination. There's just water everywhere around this build. So that's why I made the thumbnail in that way as well. Well, the ship, it's almost finished. Now it's time for some finishing touches, and I think what I'm doing right now, it really adds to all the details I was just talking about. I think it really takes this ship to a next level, and that are all these cables, all these wires that I'm placing in right now. I didn't make really sails hanging down. I thought it was okay like it was right now. The mast that I used, they already had these rolled up sails in them, so I thought it was okay. But I thought with these cables, it just looked way better. They came with that cursed pack, yes, the Star Wars Journey to Batuu pack. But in my opinion, that pack is just worth buying just for these cables, because I use them so much and there are so many other cool build and buy items with this pack, like this light, this hanging light that I just placed in. And in the interior later on you can see that, and when I see it on screen I will mention it again, but that light that I just placed in combines perfectly with a hanging plant that came with that new pack, the Paranormal pack. When you combine these two together, it looks like you have a light with a hanging plant just underneath it. Amazing. But I know that pack, it really lacks gameplay and all these other things. And it has a very bad reputation. But there are some cool, amazing build and buy items with this pack, like these cables. And of course, I made them in different angles with that tool mod. We're on to the landscaping right now, and it really needed some good landscaping. I manipulated the shape of the shields of the turtle a lot during this landscaping as well. I wanted to make it look more like it was coming up out of the water. So I wanted to make the front of the shield a little bit higher than the back. And I wanted to give it color. I wanted to make it look interesting. So initially, just as a base, I used these bushes. They're not bushes, they're actually trees. These trees came with the Island Living pack, and all these bushes and palm trees you can see here, and later on the coral as well, they all came with the Island Living pack. I used the tree as base for the bushes because when I sized it up, it just had the perfect height, because of course I had to place it on the ground in the pool. And when I sized it up, it just looked like how I wanted this island to look. I made these bushes just as a base, and now I'm starting with all these accents and all the colors with the coral. I thought it just gave it a little bit more and a little bit more color, and now I just only had the brown from the ship, that gray from the shield, and that green from the plants and from the turtle itself. And I wanted to cover up some things on these flippers. I used statues for the flippers as well. I already mentioned that, but I used statues for them as well. The statues you can normally use as a tail of a wheel. I flipped them around with the tool mod again, and I love the pattern on it. I thought it was very fitting, but it were these sticking out things from the rocks. Yeah, you know what I mean. You can see it on screen. And I thought when I added more color and more coral over here and these coral rocks, I think they're amazing with these gaps in them. Just gave this entire build way more and more depth with the color. So I combined all the coral types we have in the game, all with the Island Living pack as well. I especially love these pink things and this thing as well. I wanted to decorate the head of the turtle a little bit more too, because now after I decorated these flippers, the head just looks a little bit empty, a little bit blank. So I used the coral over there as well. I had that shape on the head of the turtle that was already there, just in the statue, and I followed that shape, that kind of triangle shape. I followed that one, and I wanted to use a lot of color everywhere. These ones, these pink ones, I love them a lot, and I use them later on in kind of eyebrows too. Yeah, a little bit strange. But I thought in that way it looked more like a mythical turtle, and it gave the turtle more personality. I think it looks more like a girl right now. She. I'm not calling the turtle it anymore from now on. I think she looks more like a girl turtle right now, and I just love that. I had so much fun with that. I use a lot of these starfish too, and I think they are amazing. I use them on the flippers too. Yet again with that island living pack, and what's very cool about the coral that I use, some of it, not everything, but some of it will light up during the night. You could just see it. I just switched from day to nighttime, and these green things, sea cucumbers, I know they're not sea cucumbers, I don't know what they are, but they light up, so that looks very cool. And especially after I'm finished with the entire ship itself as well. Of course, there will be lights everywhere over there too, and I think it looks very cool during the night as well. After I gave these flippers and the turtle herself these finishing touches with the coral, I just wanted to do it with the shield as well. It was just green right now, and I wanted to give it a little bit more. Like I said, I wanted to do more than just that brown and that green color. So I used some flower bushes here and there, and this very cool tree, the pink one. It's kind of a palm tree as well. It came with the island living pack as well. It comes in just a green plant color and this pink color. And because I placed it into the shields and I raised it up, I think it could go as a very big flower. And I just love that with the entire turtle. It's a girl idea, and with the tropical island, I just love the idea of placing in these big flowers. We're almost onto that interior, but now first, the entrance, I already talked about it. I wanted to make this build functional, so you can just pull it from the gallery, place it in your game and use it. You don't have to use cheats to use it. And I was very scared to try this. I was very scared to make this entrance because I thought it maybe wouldn't work out and I had to change up a lot of things. No, it actually was very easy to achieve. I made these different platforms. And these platforms, I did not attach them to each other. And when you do that, you can raise them up or lower them down in different heights. When you attach them to each other, you cannot do it because there's something conflicting with different heights. But when you make them just one angle, not one angle, you know what I'm talking about. When you don't attach them to each other, you can raise them up and lower them down, and I just place stairs between them in that way. I play tested it and it really works. Your sim can really walk over the shield and between the plants. That's because most of these plants are debug items. And debug items, most of them, not all of them, but most debug items your sim kind of ignores and can just walk through it. So that was very easy over here. So yeah, I used that, and like I said, it's really functional right now. Now the interior. Yes, I wanted to make this still look like a ship on the interior. I placed all these cannons in because, yes, I just thought it was very fitting for this entire ship, for this entire build. I still kept them there because I had kind of a soft theme in mind for this interior, and I thought it would be a cool contrast. I had different strange things, really strange things in my mind while I was building this. First of all, I started this off with kind of the idea, like, what if Ariel, the little mermaid, would have a ship to live in when she has legs? How would the ship look? So that's why I started with these flowers on the walls. They came with the Realm of Magic pack. But after I placed these lights in, yeah, with that very cool hanging plant, it came with the Paranormal stuff pack and it is amazing. And I combined it with that Star Wars Journey 2x2 light. I just talked about it. I think the combination looks amazing. But after I used some black tones here and there, I kind of ditched that aerial idea and I went more for a spellcaster sim that can live here. So I will place in a cauldron later on and all the things a spellcaster sim would need. But I wanted to keep it very tropical with palm trees in the interior. So I thought maybe a magical being can live here. The sim I already made that in my mind could live here. And maybe you saw her popping up here and there in the left corner of your screen. When I went to, you can see her right now, what a timing. When I went to live mode to work around with the tool mod. In my mind this is a sorceress that does kind of magic with nature and with animals maybe. So that is the thing that I had in mind. So I wanted to use this spellcaster theme but with a tropical side to it as well. I made that combination. So I combined a lot of items from the Island Living pack with the Paranormal pack but with the Realm of Magic pack as well. I sized up items here and there, but over here you can see the shelf on the wall and this light in it and these hanging plants, this rock, that side table, all with the Paranormal stuff pack. I thought when I made this house for a magical sim, I could make it into a house for a Paranormal sim as well. So yeah, you can really, if you want to use it in your own game, you can make a combination between gameplay from the Realm of Magic pack and the Paranormal pack for this build. Yeah, for this gameplay when you want to play around with it. The cool thing about that Paranormal pack is that it came with a very cool indoor palm tree that I could use. You can see it over there. I placed it already twice. And I will place it later on one layer lower a lot as well. It was just perfect for what I had in mind. A lot of other very cool plants with that Paranormal pack and I really learned to appreciate it during this build. I had a break when the pack came out. I thought, yeah, Paranormal pack, yay. I don't really care, to be honest. And I saw some of the items. And I thought, yeah, they're okay, but now I really use them and I love them. They're very cool style, and there are some amazing hang lights as well. I used them already, but I use them again in these rooms too. And these plants, yeah, I just love them. Yeah, I've just talked about them. These are amazing, these palm trees. And these in the corner, they came with with that Paranormal pack. Over here, the kitchen, and this is one level lower, and because I had some plants sticking to the floor, through the floor over here, because of course I made the entire island, I raised up the floor a little bit here, and I used that tool mod is what I wanted to say, that platform tool for it. You can just select a room, and after you select a room, you have kind of a cube. You can make a room bigger and smaller. In that cube you have arrows, and when you click on them you can make platforms bigger or lower in a room. And when you select an entire room you can just make the floor lower or higher in that entire room. I raised it up because in that way I could cover up these plants that were sticking through the floor. I tested if I didn't raise it up too high, because of course my sim still had to walk over here. But in that way I made this just not that high, and I thought it was very fitting because it was in the bottom of the ship. You can see the theme that I had in mind very well in this part of the build as well. That combination between kind of tropical and spellcaster, that's why I placed in that cauldron, of course. The pattern that you can see on the ground, the black pattern, it's a rock. It came with the Paranormal stuff pack as well. And yeah, these accent tables on the walls and the flowers on the walls, and you have these orbs, they're familiars, and all these small bottles, they all came with the Realm of Magic pack. We're on to the last 2 rooms of the entire build, and I was really amazed while I was doing this interior how many space I had inside the ship. It's really a big house to play around in. Over here is the bedroom. I went for this very cool kind of elvish looking bed. I thought it was very fitting for the idea that I had in mind for this interior. It came with the outdoor retreat pack, the very first game pack we got for The Sims 4. And especially with the yellow, I think it combines very well with the flowers from the Realm of Magic pack that I put on the wall. Over here is the bathroom, and yeah, I wanted to go for that tropical fantasy theme that I had in mind, so I used the bathtub with the wings. It came with the Get Famous pack. I combined it with these candles, and these candles are amazing. They're from the Paranormal pack as well. They're dripping and kind of spooky, and I love them a lot. Yeah, and then we're on the end of this video already, almost, because of course there is a cinematic outro at the end, or a house tour, or a boat tour, or a Turtle Island tour. I really hope you will enjoy that. I really enjoyed making it. You can see the start right now. Yeah, here we are. I'm very curious what you thought about this build. Please let me know in the comments down below. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. You would make me super happy. I try to do so many different things with my builds. I love to experiment with my builds, and I want to keep you guys inspired for your own builds. So if you like that, please consider to subscribe. I will be back next week with my new video. I cannot wait to talk to you guys then. I hope you will have an amazing weekend when you're watching this on the day when I upload this. And yeah, have an amazing day. Talk to you soon. Goodbye.